Hello, I'm Dr. Kay Sweetser from San Diego State University, and I'm going to talk to you today about one of the most difficult assignments that I think you're going to have in this class, and probably long-term one of the most rewarding, okay? So I really want you to bear with me on this assignment. Today we're talking about the job shadow informational interview. So let me give you a little bit of background first about why I require this. This is the PR capstone course. And this is the course that's supposed to prepare you to go out into the world and really be a part of that PR workforce. So if you've never seen the PR workforce, then you're not going to be very prepared for it. So what I want to do is to make sure that you can see beyond what you're doing with your client campaign. I want to make sure that you can see what it's like to be a PR practitioner in the workforce. So that is the main purpose of this assignment, is to prepare you for the workforce, to make sure that you understand what it means to be a PR person and to really get a glimpse into what your future is going to be like. Now, as a part of this assignment, I have a lot of different little rules that I know are going to frustrate you along the way, but again, please hear me out on why these exist, all right? So one of the first ones is that in order for you to have your practitioner approved, you have to get approval from me first, but before you can go out and actually talk to the practitioner and approach the practitioner. Now, this is because I don't want to overstay our welcome of our students at State going into the same PR office every single semester. So I can already imagine about half of you right now want to go into an agency like JPR or Allison or Nuffer Smith Tucker NST. And if all of you went to that same work center, then those people would be really, really frustrated with me, and then they would stop saying yes in the future. So I do have an off-limits list. Now, at the beginning of the semester, you're going to see the off-limits list just in regular bulleted list of all the organizations that are off-limits. And then throughout the semester, I'm going to add in new ones. And just so you can see who the new ones are, I'm going to highlight them. Anybody that's on that list is off-limits. And so this is why I want you to ask me whether a practitioner is approved before you go and talk to this person. Because imagine if you had just tried to work it out and then you seek approval from me and then you find out, oh no, that practitioner is not approved, right? So one of the first things that you have to do is seek my approval first. Now, when you're seeking my approval, I don't want you to hoard all of the PR organizations in San Diego. Trust me, I've had a class of more than 30 students at a time, and there have been more than enough practitioners and organizations to go around, okay? So that said, the reason that exists is because I don't allow you to ask for more than 2 at a time. So don't send me an email with a list of 5 people to review. You can ask for 2 at a time. Now, when you've already finished it and you know you have a list of a couple of organizations that you've already been granted the authority to go talk to folks in that organization, and you know you no longer need them, well then do your classmates a solid, send me an email and release them back into the class, okay? So you're going to send me an email, you're going to ask for no more than 2 at a time, and then I'm going to review the practitioner to make sure that this is the right person for you. This is a PR capstone class. That means that your practitioner has to be straight PR. If the person has marketing in their title or seems to do more journalism or honestly just non-PR type stuff, if the person is not a straight PR person, I'm not going to approve the person because this is the PR capstone, right? So if this were the media studies capstone, there'd surely be a lot more leeway and you'd have more opportunity to get a more varied type of a person, but this is our PR capstone, and so your person must be straight PR. So that's one thing to look for when you're looking for a practitioner that you want to ask me for approval on. Another thing that you have to look for is you have to make sure that the person has more than 5 years of post-graduation, post-internship experience. it really doesn't help you to go and to job shadow someone who's only been out like 2 or 3 years, because honestly, that's not going to look very different than what your internship looks like right now. Okay, so I want to make sure that you're going to talk to somebody who's a little bit more senior. And now, the point of an informational interview is not to get a job on the moment, but guess what? A lot of times, it very often leads into networking and job opportunities, right? So I want to make sure that you're talking to someone in your job shadow experience that's senior enough that that person might be later involved in hiring. And when they have an open position, they're going to say, "Oh man, I remember this person from state. That was really fantastic. I'm gonna call that person before we send out the call for applications." All right, so the person has to have more than 5 years of post-graduation, post-internship experience. Now, the person cannot be a firm of one person, all right? So this means anybody who is going to be self-employed, anybody who is a sole practitioner, anybody who owns their own agency. So if I work for the Sweetser agency, I'm not going to approve that. And that is because, again, they don't have employees where they can't help you out later on. And it's just not appropriate to go job shadow them in their home, right? I'm asking for the job shadow to happen at a 4-hour time period at their office. And often people who are sole practitioners, who are self-employed, they don't have offices, right? So I'm not going to send you into someone's home to do an assignment. So 100%, I will not authorize anybody who is a sole practitioner or owns their own agency without any employees, etc. So don't even ask for that. Now, what do you have to do? Well, you have to get approval from me. And then you go ahead and you approach the practitioner. This is why it's really hard, because you're probably going to get ghosted. You're probably going to get maybe somebody to agree, yay, and then never hear from them for a long time, right? Because they're doing you a favor. So you've got to work into their busy schedule. That's why it is so important for your own sanity, honestly, for you to take care of this assignment as early as possible in the semester. Do not wait until after the midpoint of the semester. Especially don't wait for the last month. You will drive yourself crazy with, will I graduate? Won't I graduate? What happens if I don't do this? Oh, help me find a practitioner. Like, you can create a situation where you don't have that kind of a stress if you start managing this assignment early on. And if you understand that you're probably going to get ghosted and people are probably going to gaff you off every now and again. And so that way, as you're moving toward the end of the semester, you get it done. My advice to you is to have this done definitely planned before the midpoint of the semester, and absolutely no later than 1 month before the semester. I would have my job shadow already have been accomplished no later than 1 month before the end of the semester, right? Because then you're not going to have that kind of anxiety that goes along with it. So an informational interview is going to be this kind of a situation where you are going to the practitioner and you're just asking them, like, how did you get here? What was your career like? What kinds of lessons have you learned along the way? You're just getting to know the practitioner. So the first part of it is that you're doing this informational interview and you're getting to know the practitioner. And it can be very casual and friendly and all those sorts of things. The second part of the requirement is that you have to do a 4-hour job shadow at their office, right? So you have to make sure that they're, from the get-go, that they're going to be able to let you in their offices. There's some places that I know from previous students coming back and telling me, places like Netflix, some of the county community communications folks at like the court systems and things like that, like they just don't allow job shadows. So make sure that your person will allow a job shadow at their office. So then you're going to go to their office and you're going to do a job shadow for 4 hours. Now, your informational interview can be the same day and time as the job shadow, or they can be a week apart, a month apart, whatever the case is. Personally, I want to knock it all out in one interaction, right? So that's my advice to you. You don't have to do them at the same time. Strongly recommend that you do them at the same time. And then you have to write them a thank you note. So you're going to have to know what their mailing address is. You can either mail it to, or address it rather to where they work, to their office, because you will have been to their physical office, so you know that that's where they are. One of the techniques that I like to use is I like to ask people, what's a good mailing address for you where you receive USPS mail? And that way they know, okay, I can either give this person my work address, I could give somebody a post office box if I have that, or maybe I want to give you my home address. But I'm letting that person choose where they want me to mail their letter to, right? And that's a very non-weird kind of a way to ask that. If you need help trying to figure out what a practitioner's address is, then you can come in during office hours and I can try to do my FBI stalking skills to assist you with that. So those are the main requirements. The last piece is that I just want you to write something, in a Microsoft Word document, definitely no more than 1 page, right? Don't make it 2 pages. That's going to be failure to follow directions. And I want you to tell me when your job shadow was, what you did during there. And there's not a lot of constraints about the content of this 1 page kind of report that you're writing, because I know all the hard work came before. But I do need to actually have something written so I know what you did, and I do need you to tell me the date and the place that you did your job shadow. Now, I know you're not going to get all funny business with this, but trust me, in the past, when students have tried to portray that they had a one-on-one in-person interaction with a pro, I have found out when it has not been the case. Now, I'm not going to go into any specifics on this, but you don't want to be that person who's doing an honor code violation. All right? So please make sure that whatever you're writing in the assignment actually did happen, right? Throughout the semester, I'm more than happy to help you look for practitioners. I have a couple of tips and tricks about ways that you can find them. Typically, you're looking through LinkedIn. You're either looking through my contacts, or you're doing searches with the filters in LinkedIn to try to find somebody, or maybe even using PRSSA as an opportunity to connect with some of the practitioners that are coming to the meetings there. But of course, you do have to have approval of your practitioner before you approach that person and ask them for the job shadow. So this assignment is definitely daunting. It's very difficult to cold call someone and ask them a pretty big ask, to come in and to do a job shadow with them. But you are never going to be in this situation again where somebody's going to be so ready to say yes to you than where you are right now. When you tell them that you are a graduating senior at San Diego State in our PR program, and you've seen their career and their trajectory, and you would really love an opportunity to do a job shadow with them, would they be open to that? You are going to flatter the heck out of these folks, and they are definitely going to want to do this for you. But you have to break through the noise, and you have to be patient, and you have to be persistent with it too. So at the end of the semester, it'll all be over. I know you will have managed this assignment in a timely way, and you will be ready to go, where you're not going to be stressed out the last 2 weeks of class saying, oh my gosh, am I going to get this done? Am I not going to get this done? I know you're not going to wait till the last minute to do this. I know you're not going to, put this off. And I also know that 6 months after the semester, you're going to look back on that experience and you're going to be pretty grateful that you had the opportunity to job shadow someone, especially when they slide back into your LinkedIn messages and they say, hey, we have a job coming open. Would you be interested? Like I said, it doesn't happen immediately, but you're laying the groundwork for an amazing network of people who know that you're dedicated to public relations. So this is a big assignment. Tackle it early, one little piece at a time, stay on it, communicate with me. I know you can do it, and I'm really excited at the end of the semester to read your report and see how it went.